Yes. This is Arthur Lewis with All Farm Gardening, live at the Grenada Food Forest, where my mission is to get you growing. In today's video, I am going to be transplanting some Dasheen. For those of you out there in the international community, you might know it as the Taro plant. So we're going to do that. We're also going to weed and possibly transplant some ginger. I also have some seasoning pepper plants that I would like to transplant, plus more. But before we jump into the video, I would just like you to put a click of fertilizer on that like button. And remember, when you share the video, you're really irrigating the channel so it could grow just like this beautiful garden. So like I said, the first thing that we're going to do today is to plant the Dasheen plants, which is also known as Taro. Here in Grenada, we say Dasheen. I'm comfortable with Dasheen. Dasheen is a starch. I'm going to explain a little more about it when I'm planting the plant. But before you do anything with anything, not just gardening, one of the first things that you have to do is preparation. So I would have gone ahead yesterday and remove some of the cover plants, grass, weed, what have you, that was growing here. I also went ahead and planted some Dasheen yesterday. So I am continuing really with the Dasheen today. So like I said, preparation. Now the first thing that I need to do is to make a hole for the Dasheen. Now right where I'm digging here, I'm supposed to encounter some ginger, because I was growing ginger. Well, ginger was growing here before. I wasn't really growing it. What happened is, this is where we had the slides, and so I had the ginger growing somewhere higher, but when the rain came and the earth moved, it also moved the ginger. So the ginger ended up growing here, and I don't really want it to be growing here. So it's gonna get removed in that process. So this is actually a piece of ginger. And this one is, so this would have been the main piece originally planted. And this is how it makes the new ginger. So this would ripen as it grow. You would tell when the color starts to get as dark as this, that you have ginger. Sometimes it comes up above the ground and you can see it. So there might be more ginger on the side here. I don't think I'm going to bother too much about it now. I'm here for the taro. The ginger wouldn't die. And I'll just continue. So for the taro, we like to make, and I'm saying taro for, of course, people who may not know the word Dasheen. We like to make a very deep hole. And I think it has something to do with Dasheen being a wetland plant. So my grandfather would make a very deep hole. Now I only have 6 plants, so I'll be making 6 holes. Alright, so what I have in my hand here is the Dasheen plant, and I have 2, 4, 6, and I realize I made a miscalculation, because of course, like I said in the intro, I wanted to do the whole area, well, to stop here, but I miscalculated the amount of space, and so miscalculated, but that's okay. I'll just continue along with it. What is important here to note is that this is your Dasheen plant, and I have 6 of them, so I dug 6 holes. Alright, and the way that we grow the Dasheen, now usually when Dasheen is being grown in the Caribbean, is because it comes out of an actual dasheen. So the dasheen makes the food in the root. It will be about this big, and we would cut a portion with the leaves and a little bit of dasheen food, and that would form the new plant. But these, I've been growing them for the leaves. So when you grow them for the leaves and you're constantly harvesting the leaves, they do not get the opportunity to store a lot of food in the roots, although they do sometimes, but not all the time. So these did not get that opportunity. All right, and that is the reason why you're seeing it like this. So I'm not gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna bother to cut out any of the parts here. I'm just gonna plant it like that. Some of you out there who know about growing dasheen, you might criticize. People usually want to stick with what they know. But the reason why I'm doing it that way is because I've done it that way in the past and I was able to get success and I was able to get massive dasheen coming from what I've planted. So I think I've discovered something, and I'm in the way of a method, and that is what I'm going to be doing here today. So one other thing, you notice that the hole that I'm making is deep, and in spite of the point that I made before, the reason why I am making the hole deep is because this is the way my grandfather did it. Now, once again, I've been able to do it not that way and get success. But sometimes when I come out here gardening, or sometimes when I'm cooking, I would hear the voice of my grandmother or my grandfather speaking to me, and to do it his way, since he would have been one of my early influences as a gardener, one of my early influencers as a gardener, yeah, to do it his way brings me close to him. And it's not that I'm not gonna get result, it's just that probably I could get away with doing it without expending this much energy. But like I said, that's the way my grandfather did it, so I'm doing it his way because I could hear his voice telling me to do it that way when I set out to do it. Gardening for me is something that is very spiritual for people who believe in that. And if you don't believe in that, then I don't know what to tell you, you know. To each his own. As a matter of fact, I probably have never mentioned before on the channel, but I would like to consider myself to be, well, I was going to say very, but if not very, I'm going to consider myself to be a spiritual person. Alright, so I am finished with the dasheen. Alright, so as you can see, they're all, you know, lined up in a row. I ended up planting 8 because I realized that I could use the space better than I was planning to use it, so I was able to squeeze in an extra 2. I am going to come in and make my way all the way to where you see the bulgur tree down there with dasheen. Now the reason why I'm planting the dasheen is because this channel has always been about food sovereignty, food security, and this is the I'll grow. And as we know, the concept draws from the way the elders would have been gardening. So the native Amerindian, so-called, as we like to call them, you know, this is not India, so of course they weren't Indians, but the native people who were here before me, they grew a lot of their food underneath the ground. And I'm speaking about the important food, the energy input. So dasheen, as I mentioned earlier in the video, is a starch, and so it's a high energy input plant, and I want to make sure that I take care of my energy input at least. So this is the reason why I'm growing that. As you know, I also grow bananas, I also grow yams. I've been trying to do the cassava. I haven't had any success, but it's not because cassava doesn't grow well here. It's because when I plant it, I don't really take proper care of it. That is going to change, all right? From now on, I promise you, sweet cassava. I'm never going to leave you again. All right, so now we're gonna plant some sweet peppers. We're gonna go up this way, and then after I'm finished planting the sweet peppers, I have to come back down here and do the weeding of some ginger. So if you put your eyes on the ground right here, you would see, and that is because I have ginger growing all here in these bushes. As a matter of fact, as I'm speaking, I spotted a leaf. All right. So what happened here is that here, this was supposed to be a big ginger field, all the way I planted the dasheen all this way. But when the heavy rain, well, I have to say, inflicted me, this area here got washed over. So you could see this log line here in the middle of the field. This is part of the debris that was washed over here by the heavy rains, and so the ginger got compromised. And to be quite honest, I thought I sort of lost it, because I thought they all got washed down to the gully, but obviously, all right, this is another ginger leaf. The ginger is still here. So the mission for me the mission therefore for me would be to come here and sort out and see if I could revitalize the ginger effort that I was putting in here. All right, so having said this, I'm not gonna walk up this way to where I have the pepper. You see, I have some pumpkins. But look at this. Look at this. I am not happy. I am not happy one bit. I am not happy. So this is some corn. So as you know, we didn't really get the rain as well as I would have liked. I don't want to say as we were supposed to. I do not control the fabric of the universe in which we live. So the stems, they're not that thick. The ears are not going to be that big. They're going to be some small corn. But some pest has already started to pesture and of course I'm very angry about this. It's probably rat, it could be mongoose, it could also be manikou. Whoever it is, I'm not happy, and I'm going to do something about it. And sadly, that something would require me to have to come up with some way to dispatch these animals. Dispatch, nice kind word. I'm going to kill them. At this point, it's me or the mongoose or the rat or the manikou. I choose me. Alright, so before I plant my pepper, I have these cucumbers that I put in yesterday. I just want to give them a drink. This is rainwater I'm watering them with, if you're wondering. I have rain barrels here. I don't have them set up to capture water right now. Well, it's not like the rain is falling anyway, but I also have some rain barrels at the house. So when I'm coming here to the farm, I carry rainwater with me that I use for the watermelons. Watermelon is really an initiative by the lady, but the cucumber here is me. So I don't know when you might be watching this video, but the date today is October 22nd, I believe. So it's October 22nd. Based on where in the world you might be in your fall. If you're in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you might be in your spring. I am in the southern Caribbean. This is Grenada. It's the southernmost OECS country. We're just above Trinidad, and Trinidad is just above Guyana and Suriname and them. So we're almost an equatorial climate, and as such we have a year-long growing season. We could grow from October all the way back to October. What would affect us, the challenges that we have growing here as far as climate goes, would be sometimes we get too much rain and sometimes we get too much sun. So right now, although it is supposed to be peak rain season, we are experiencing drought conditions and very hot and sunny weather right now. So that is why I'm here with carrying this rainwater. But to be honest, when I prepare for it, it's not a big problem, because I would have quite a few barrels up here. I don't have the count in my head with rainwater that I use, and I have an irrigation system. If you go back to older videos, you would see, you know, it's a low pressure irrigation system that I use, and I'm able to use the water from the rain barrels to irrigate my property. Alright, so we're done with that. We're gonna now transplant some peppers. Okay, so this is the nursery bag. I'm gonna spank it proper. You like that? So this is the nursery bag, and this is where I would have hatched the pak chai that was very successful. The cucumber, that is where I hatched it as well. As a matter of fact, those cucumbers there, they were hatched in this nursery bag. This is grapes that I'm rooting here in this nursery bag. And of course, what I'm here to do is to transplant this pepper. They've been here for a while. Okay, get it up like that. Yeah, so these peppers, they should have been transplanted long time ago actually. Some of their counterparts, well, what can I say? Yeah, some of the roots, they're gonna get damaged, but I will just have to make sure that they get enough nutrients to heal when I plant them. Alright, so most of them, they're gonna come here. And remember, if you're gonna use a machete, protect your feet. It's hot here at the Grenada Food Forest, but I'm already did the preparation yesterday, so, and always use the machete away from you. So I'm growing in ground, as you can see. I have some compost, but not gonna bother with that, so I'm just softening the soil a little bit. One thing I know about pepper is that pepper requires a lot of space when they grow up. Yeah, the ground here has gotten compact, I think, from the children walking over it. So I have to give it a good softening. Maybe I haven't really used this potion here in some time. In the past, I've grown cucumbers here. It did way better than this one. And after the cucumbers, I think I had strawberries growing here. Even had lettuce and cabbage growing here. So this is a cocoa tree. And for those of you who don't know by now, cocoa is where you get your chocolate from. So this area where I'm using for the farm used to be part of my cocoa orchard. And then I remove most of the cocoa so I could grow food that I actually consume, because like I said, my mission is food sovereignty, and having a monocrop of cocoa don't really fit in with that philosophy too much. But I do have another portion where I grow mostly cocoa in a mostly monocrop arrangement, and the reason why I still have this cocoa here in the middle of the farm, I like to call it the veggie farm, is because those would be high yielders. So if you're got your eyes up here, all right, so this isn't, it's not being fertilized, it's not being taken care of in no big set away, and it's still producing. Asar, you all right? Yeah, it's still producing. So what I would like to do is I would like to clone this plant before I move it. And I keep saying I'm gonna do it this week, I'm gonna do it next week, and thus far I haven't done it. So all the cocoa that you see here, it's another one. If you just rotate, it's also a high yielder. Those further down there, they're also high yielders. Those plants I actually made myself from early years. So I do propagate my own cocoa sometimes, so I need to take them over to where I grow the cocoa, and that's the reason why they're here still. And the reason why I'm mentioning the cocoa tree is because this pepper that I'm about to put in will be in its shade, but I'm gonna put it anyway and pray. It will be all right. Yeah, so this part here is softer. So I would have had strawberries on this here after the cucumber, as I mentioned. Let me take this nice one. Alright, so this cucumber is almost exhausted all its life energy.
It's at the end of its ropes.
That's funny, man. I'm gonna keep that in the video. Alright, so as you can see, there's already a pepper growing here, and that is where I'm drawing the inspiration from to put these ones in. So it means that it's growing nice. Pepper kind of like here. That's another one. It's not doing so nice, but that is because it was in the very dense shadow of the cucumber. So now that it's gonna receive some light, it will be doing better. All right, so the rest of the pepper I'm gonna put somewhere else, but at least you have seen how I handle pepper sometimes. All right, it's very late for them. They should have been transplanted moons ago. As a matter of fact, they have counterparts that has produced peppers, but the situation with the water and the rain, because I also planted out a lot from that who they didn't get the water, especially up here. They didn't get the water. They weren't irrigated as often as they needed to be. Well, they weren't irrigated at all, and they sadly passed away. Moment of silence for them. Right, so I wasn't encouraged to continue with that. So they stayed inside it. This thing holds water for a minute, and so they were able to survive, shade each other, so that the water didn't evaporate as quickly as they would if it was an individual plant standing for itself. There's always strength in unity, you know. And so they were able to survive, but they stunted. They're still good. They're still going to produce once I repair them, give them the nutrients, give them the water. I hope I will be able to do that this time around. It's not a lot. And that is just for my personal use. Alright, so we're in the middle of the ginger patch. So what I need to do right now is I need to weed the ginger, because as you look, you're not just seeing ginger, but you're seeing a lot of dense weed, and this is the Grenada Food Forest, not the Grenada Weed Forest. So I need to get some of this out, and the way that I would do that is just, it requires patience. You need to be able to spot the ginger as opposed to the weed, because you don't want to pull up your ginger while you're doing that. And I do make mistakes sometimes, but I try to be very careful. So alright, so that's the young ginger. cleaned. That's another one right here. Alright, and so you see the process. It's gonna take a while, so I'll get this done, and after it's done I'll show you what the whole area looks like weeded. Alright, so I'm basically done weeding the ginger. If you look around, you can see what I have growing here. So some of them they're really progressive, like these ones. Some of them they're not so well. They're all progressive, to be honest. Some were planted before some, and then some were stunted by the thick weed, and you know, we had the rain disrupting things, so the plants, you're not seeing this uniform growth as you usually see, because sometimes the sun dry up the rhizomes that are plant, and then I have to come and replace them. Sometimes it's too wet, and when it's too wet, you know, they do not, well, for what I've seen here in my experience, and it's probably to do with the variety of ginger that I'm growing, when it's too wet, they don't grow as rapid. So they do need a lot of moisture, I would say, because when it's moist, that's when I see the best growth coming from them. In any event, this is the, well, this is this ginger patch. I have another one to my right, but there is nothing there to see now. I have to get it cleaned up, weeded, and then I'll see what's going on, and if I need to put in some new plants. I have bits of ginger here that I could use. I also have bits of ginger over here. See, all this is bits of ginger, and they're already shooting. So alright, that's all for transplanting. I'll just give you a final look at the ginger. And that is it for me and the ginger patch. Alright, so that is all I have for you today in this video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for spending your time with me and for making it this far in the video. Remember, if you like the video, share the video. This is how the YouTube algorithm works. Remember, a lot of you guys say to me, I like the video. A lot of you guys call me on the phone. Sometimes you meet me in the streets. Drop a comment, drop a like. You know, that is the only way I would be able to continue to do this as frequently as you guys are expecting me to do this, and you do ask me to make this video. Making this video is fun. It's fun hanging out with you guys. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate, don't stop walking up to me, don't stop calling me, but I'm just asking for that little help with the YouTube algorithm. You guys just click that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, all of that good stuff. I would really appreciate it. It would really help this channel to grow, and it would really help me to spread this message to every corner of the globe. You know my name, Arthur Lewis. You know my mission is to get you growing. So get out there and get growing.